All right, guys, so I'm just gonna make a quick video here on how to remove your AC compressor. This will apply to many Volkswagen applications. This particular model is a 2007 Volkswagen Golf City. Engine may look a little bit different. Process should be the same depending on your model. The compressor might be in there on the bottom, which might be a little bit easier to access here, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to remove the compressor. Got to get the alternator out of the way. And I've diagnosed this, what I believe is the compressor is bad. I tried changing the clutch, pressure switch, whole bunch of other things. So, okay, so first things first, guys, we are going to go ahead and remove the battery here. Since we are working in the engine compartment and we are going to be working on taking the alternator out to access the compressor, we are going to have to disconnect the battery. So we just have two 10 millimeters here, one on the positive side, one on the negative side. So we're going to go ahead and get those removed. Okay. What we can do, we can just move them out of the way. Just don't want them touching the terminals there to make a solid connection. Don't need to remove the entire battery, just need to disconnect it. We are going to take off the belt, which there's a little nub right here. Gonna get a 16 millimeter wrench, pry that back, and then there's a hole through here. We're gonna stick a small Allen wrench, about 3-4 millimeter, through there and then into this hole right here. And what that's going to do is it's going to hold it out of place, keep the tension off the belt, allow us to remove it, and kind of keep everything out of the way there. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So hold that back just like that. Slide this through the hole. It's going to go through that hole. It's going to hold that. And then you can just pull the belt off. Now what you want to do before you do this is know the belt diagram. You don't want to get the belt off and not know how to do it. You should be able to Google it. And this particular model goes around the alternator, around the power steering at the bottom, through the crank, and it just sits in front of the AC compressor. So once that's there, pull the belt off. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to disconnect these connections on the alternator. So what we have here is we have one electrical connector here. We have a 13 millimeter nut holding on this wire to the alternator. This is a cap that just pops off just like that. And back here, that bracket right there, there's a small 8 millimeter that we're going to have to remove. It's easier to access once we take off this, and then there are two 13 millimeters holding on the alternator. Once we do that, we'll be able to lean it forward and get that 8 millimeter out. Okay, now we're going to go ahead. We already took the cap off. We're going to break loose this 13 millimeter here. Do not lose that. Then we're going to remove this electrical connector. You may need to get a screwdriver in there, but what you do is just push down on this, slide it off. You want to be careful. You don't want to break that. Now the alternator is going to be stuck in there, okay? It's not going to be very easy to get out. What you also want to make sure, and in my case it is that this Allen key is not preventing the Allen, that you didn't put it too far through. See, mine's caught on the alternator right there. So we're going to go ahead and back that off a little bit. You see the alternator fell. Now, what you may need to do is get a little pry bar, because the bushings do get quite tight in there. So we're just going to pry, get it free, lift it up. You're going to take it off from above. Now we're going to get that 8 millimeter. So you can see right there, that's that 8 millimeter nut. Okay, it's just holding this piece on here. So we're going to go ahead and take that off. Okay, now the alternator's. Oh, lost the camera there. So what I like to do is everything I took off, I'm going to put it back on so that I do not lose the pieces. Goes a wrench. Now, one thing to note, guys, okay, these are the 13 millimeters that we took off. These bushings, once you tighten these bushings actually come out to tighten everything. So when you get this, when you're going to reinstall this alternator, what you're going to want to do is take a hammer, just tap these, try and get them back in, give you a little bit more space when you're installing. Okay. Now we have direct access to our AC compressor. So what we can see, it's held on here by a 16 millimeter. There's one right below. It's easier to access from underneath the car. And you have a spacer right here. Okay. One electrical connection, and then obviously the lines right here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and remove this connector. Again, press down until you hear click. And then you're going to slide it out. There we go. And we're going to get a 16 millimeter on there. So you can see we're taking this out. Hose is in the way. And this spacer is going to want to come out once you release, once you get this AC free. You do not want to lose that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go from the underneath and we're going to get the second bolt. Now that we're underneath, you can see what we're working with. There's the AC compressor there. And right there is that other bolt we need to get. So we're going to go ahead and take that off now. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use an extension. Just a short extension, just so you can get the ratchet in there, okay? All right, now we're going to go back up to the top to remove the compressor. Now what you want to watch when you're removing this here is this hose right here, okay? Because the compressor, you're not gonna be able to pull it straight up. What's gonna happen is it's gonna hit this right here, okay? So you wanna be careful. You don't wanna break that. This is brittle plastic. It's your thermostat housing. It's a known problem for these to break just because of how brittle and the plastic is. Heats up, cools down, breaks down over time, okay? Just something to be careful of, okay? So now this is out, same thing. It's going as the alternator, it's going to be stuck in there. So what you're going to want to do is get a little pry bar, just pry it out, okay? Now remember, don't lose the spacer. Keep that off to the side. Pry a little more, and we are free, okay? So at this point in time, you can go ahead and remove these connections if you're removing the compressor. If you are just working on the compressor, if you're going to change the clutch, which I have already done, this is a new clutch. What you can do is get a bungee cord right here, hook it to the top of your hood, and then get a couple pieces of wood. Set it right on the frame here and then down on the bracket, because what that's going to do, it's going to prop up the compressor, allow you to work on it. See, I already have that front nut off, okay? And that'll give you access to get your snap ring pliers in there and work on everything. That wraps up the video here on how to replace your air compressor, remove the alternator, get access to it. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if there's content you guys would like to see, or if you have any suggestions or questions, I will get back to you. Thank you.